Yeah, go ahead, whenever you're ready. Good evening, everyone. Oh. Are we good now? Joel, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Oh, that's quiet. Yeah. It's turned up pretty high. I try that. Okay, good evening. At it's 7 o'clock, so I will call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda are additions or deletions. Any additions or deletions? No. Okay, moving on. Privilege of the floor. So we only have, oh no, sorry, I was gonna say one public hearing, but 2 public hearings tonight. No, 3, sorry, losing track, it's been a long day. So if there's a public hearing to be scheduled on the agenda for a development, we will have that during that development project time. If anyone wants to speak, privilege of the floor, just general comments, they may do so now. Nope. Okay. Oh, hi Ken, go ahead.
What I was trying to ask before you turned on the camera, in the agenda, there is a link to a document which is titled, let me get it right here. Review the Regulatory Review Committee's proposed amendments. The link sends me to a page which asks me to log into my Microsoft account, and I was hoping that someone could repair that so I could see that document, which will be under discussion. And other than that, nope, it's too early to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. That's next month.
Yes, okay. Greg's working on the privileges on file, so just give him a few minutes. Rhonda.
Hi, I want to bring up something that's kind of maybe falls under the category of old business, but since Mr. Petricola is here, I think it's current business. And I just want to explain for everyone what I'm talking about, since I think a lot of people who were first exposed to this were not on the planning board at the time, and the planner at the time was David West. So we were having a planning board meeting, and it had something to do with the former auto salvage property, and Mr. Petricola and his partner were there. And someone brought up the fact that there is an auto salvage sign at the intersection of Hornbrook Road and 96B. And one of the two partners stated that it's a huge sign and had been there for a long, long time at that point. And so at this point in time, it's been there for decades. And so one of the two partners stated that it was a for sale sign. And someone said, well, there's nothing on the sign talking about anything being for sale. And he said, well, it applies to this very small parcel right there where the sign was, that they can't really use commercially, and they're interested in selling it. Well, the conversation went on about this sign, and I think it was generally hinted, kind of obviously, that this sign should be removed. It's not a for sale sign. A for sale sign is supposed to be something temporary. It should say for sale on it. It should give a name, address, and phone number of someone that could be contacted. And so nothing has been done with that sign for all these years, and the sign is still there. And I feel that issue needs to be dealt with first before we get to the other issue tonight that Mr. Petrocola would like to deal with. And I'm hoping that Mr. Petrocola will just say, yes, I'd definitely be willing to take down that sign because it does not meet as far as I can tell, it doesn't meet the sign law that we have at this point in time. It's just not an approved sign, so it's technically kind of illegal. And I'd like to see him remove it. So maybe when it's his time to speak about his property, he can also speak about this sign. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else for privilege of the floor? Seeing none, we can move to approval of the minutes from September. Anyone would like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion. I'll second it.
Bergen,
Yes.
Colbert,
Yes.
Callan,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Bradford.
Did you say Scriber? I don't
Yeah.
think I was here for that meeting. But I don't remember.
Yeah, you have.
Okay.
You abstaining?
Mm.
Green,
Yes.
and Mohammed.
I'll abstain because I've got three. All right. Town Board Liaison Report. Who are you speaking, Leslie?
I'll speak very briefly.
Okay.
Me. We had a meeting last night that was exciting. One of the things, 3 more homes, I don't know how much you guys know about the Community Development Housing Rehab Program. The 3 more homes were approved last night. We need to like really celebrate this thing.
Yeah.
You know, some of the stuff that these 3 homes are gonna get updated electrical stuff, radon mitigation, septic system, windows, doors, gutters, asbestos removal, and other carpentry stuff. And it you know, I was thinking last night, it keeps these homes off of that list.
Yeah.
Of, you know, and also makes it healthy and safe for people.
Yeah.
That's
great.
But we really should celebrate how much we've done. We had a brief discussion about the timber harvest law. Seemed to most people, a lot of people were in favor of it. There were some concerns about restrictions. We're gonna clean up some of the wording related to who's responsible for what, just to make it more clear. And review the, you know, as far as who's responsible for reviewing it, issuing the permit, things like that. We also have a brief discussion about the special event law. And that's staying in the process of revision, reviewing definitions, clarifying the law's purpose, and what triggers the need for a permit. So those 2 things are, as usual, still in the works. And other thing that happened last night was the board approved the purchase of the property next door. So hopefully we'll see something happen with that property.
All right. Thank you. All right, so we will move into our development reviews, starting with 353 Comfort Road. We looked at this project last month, and there's the updated survey based on the information we requested. We need to do the environmental significance, have a public hearing, and then consider approvals. So I think the main change is the development area versus non-development area, or build area, sorry. And then the the designation of what is on the site right now. So, we wanna pull up the, sure, you can put the plan up for a second.
So. Orient one here, and either locker is enough. Right, so there, because he went through and, so comments from the board last time, at the last month's meeting. So again, you're just looking to add a second dwelling unit, to the property. And you, certainly since you're now closer, if you wanted to speak, you're welcome, before you.
No, I don't really have anything to say. I think it's all pretty well documented. You know, does anybody have any questions? It's pretty straightforward.
So then just following up on that, what the board asked last time is just to really show the new dwelling location. And then delineate this build and no build area, so. The line, the sort of separating line is really the front part of the property for the build area where all the activity is right now. The current house, the equestrian operation, barn, there's lots of equipment out there too. And then sort of in the, and I think that's roughly, I put in the numbering of staff report, I think it's about 30 acres. And then the majority of the property, 58 acres, would be designated as a no-build area.
Whoever's speaking, could you move closer to the mic?
It's gonna be a problem, huh? Right,
Oh, let's see if I can,
will it have feedback? It'll have feedback if you turn on your bill.
Maybe the mic could just be put on.
I wonder if I can, that was me, I was just trying to speak from my,
You want me
Corner.
to move this way?
no, we're still trying to figure out the audio, I'm just gonna speak up.
It's echo more than anything else that's happening.
Um. Do we need to look at the seeker? Anything?
So last time there was a comment on the speaker, the part one. Show. I think there was a. Show, I don't know. I just added in with red text, just clarifying that the proposed action is not just adding a second dwelling, it's also clustering the property's development rights by preparing a final plat that shows build and no build areas and the future provision of any development rights. And then the other one was just that, you know, the total acreage to be physically disturbed by the new house construction. Other than that, everything looks, I think there was no other comment from the board.
Oh, yeah, okay. So did we already do the part two? Or we need to do that tonight,
Yeah, we can do that tonight.
Okay.
Put that up,
which I always forget, we have to do that before public hearing, yes?
right.
Yeah, okay,
Because
okay.
then the public hearing is for when the application is complete.
Right, okay.
And the, it's not complete until seeker is done. So I'll pull that up on the screen. Saw the draft resolution, I would recommend that it's, no minimal impacts. And sort of in the description saying the proposal to cluster the 88-acre property's development rights so that a second dwelling unit can be added to the property without subdividing will not have an adverse or significant environmental impact. The built area designated on the final plat is approximately 30 acres which would allow for one dwelling unit per 15 acres, which is larger than the current zoning. Or let's say less dense than the current zoning. The no build area of development is not allowed as 58 acres, so 66%.
Okay. Anyone like a motion to, no, we have to do this first, yep. For the low impact. Environmental significance.
I'll make motion for it.
Second.
Thank you. Yep.
Yes.
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 David.
Yes.
Robert.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. All right, I will open the public hearing then. There's anyone who would like to comment on the cluster subdivision? Not seeing it on the screen. And the person? Okay. Wait, Heather,
Oh, you can't hear, so these folks out here can't hear.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
The hearing is open for 353 Comfort Road to cluster the development rights. So we have a comment on that.
okay, I'll speak up. Okay, is your hand up? I can't tell.
Oh, no, that's me.
Oh, okay.
It's the cursor.
Thank you. All right, then I will close the public hearing. Then if no.
Oh, motion to adopt the resolution
Okay,
is written.
may I make a? What would it be? An additional comment? What is that called?
Discussion, I don't know.
Yeah, and then-
I just an amendment to the proposal to note that it should follow the setbacks, because we didn't put any dimensions to where the actual structure is.
So the amendment would be,
Just to follow setback regulations per zoning or whatever, something to that effect.
what if I pull it up and you just tell me, there's that here.
It's just that it's not, look, we didn't have her annotated on the plan. And I don't wanna have to make her go back and do the plan all over again. To put setbacks on it.
Oh, for when she comes to build.
Yeah,
Or-
oh, cause we're only approving the subdivision, we're not approving the building.
It is the location of, it is this clustering development rights, for second dwelling. And that can go straight to a building permit. The board could also condition the approval and say, you need to come back for a site plan review, for.
Well, I don't wanna do that, I just wanna make sure they don't build it 2 feet from the property line.
Oh, right, yeah, well, that would.
Just make sure it's in the right, so I just wanted to put it like in the resolve or in the whereas or whatever.
But that happens when they meet with code to build, right?
It's still, I mean, if it's a
Yeah.
proposed amendment, it's up to the board if they want to.
Can't hurt.
Does the thing follow
Just follow current
Guidelines.
guidelines, I'm not saying change anything.
Does
Yeah.
it have to be set back from the non-development area also? Just curious.
No, I think it's just
wouldn't
from the
think-
property lines, I think,
Wouldn't think it would have to be, it would
Yeah.
just be, yeah.
yeah,
okay.
just from the
Yeah.
neighboring property line.
Maybe that's all second it. Follow
Just,
current rules, I mean,
Yeah,
she's going to anyway, but.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll amend my motion to include the amendment. And then- Yeah.
Yeah.
there,
So I'm saying, just below the first resolve, to say resolve that the new dwelling unit, will meet the setbacks of the underlying zone district.
yeah, that's perfect.
Mhm.
Okay.
Bergman,
Yes.
Colbert,
Yes.
Helen,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Driver,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
and Martha.
Yes.
Motion passed.
You, my son, and then you will. It's a long way to go. Oh, yeah, no, we'll.
They can talk about those at some
Yeah,
point.
you're okay. When Kelly sends these, you can just take these, okay. And you'll bring them back to county, but,
It doesn't matter that it's blue, does it?
nope. You just have to get it filed with the county within 2 months, so you don't have to like go tomorrow.
Oh, I'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
You can want to see too.
Alright.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Happy holiday.
Thank you.
If they will excuse me. I need to-
Where's?
Oh.
Hey, we're good to go. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Happy holidays.
Okay, moving on to 121 Autumn Ridge Lane, applicant David Thomas. This is the low density residential, they're looking to convert a portion of an existing pole barn into a dwelling unit. Proposed on the schedule is public hearing and consideration for approval. Is the applicant here? Yeah, hi. Do you wanna just,
Come on.
Yeah.
On the phone, after we start to pick up.
you just wanna give us a real quick, what you're trying to do, explanation,
They need
just
to be
speak up
closer
so
to
that
the-
Mike can hear you.
So essentially, we have a 50 by 80 pole barn. And in one end of it, I'm looking to build a 1,496 square foot livable space for myself. It's gonna be 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms.
Okay. Thank you very much. Materials. Okay, thank you.
But in the area of the property line, so I can at least pull that up. So this is.
Also, I wanted to add that zone to 2 dwellings, pre-existing, it's been already zoned for that, so.
You know that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why we're here.
Yep.
If you want to be here, if you want to.
And,
Yeah,
well, just for anyone else that's in, problem.
so the 50 by 80 structure sits right in here, this is, must be a pretty old, but
Yeah.
it's built in 2020.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. Right around there.
And so yeah, the zone district allows 2 dwelling units by right. If they were attached, they would just go to a building permit directly, but because they're detached, it does require a planning board to look at it. So we did receive, I can let the board go through and ask questions, but we did receive a couple comments from some neighbors. So, those are in the folder, that's a folder.
Yeah, and I know, I guess we can probably read them, they're in public here, well, I guess if they're in the folder, they're already out there for public knowledge, but. In regards to. I forget what the exact wording was, but. The business portion from the letter from the town. how do we,
But I think the
how does that
concern is-
play into any of our portion of approval?
That's what I was,
Yeah,
That's what I know.
so the history here is that, in 2018, there was a notice of violation on the property issued by the code officer at the time. Because of some excavation equipment outside on the property, bulldozers, backhoes, equipment for your business. And, I think there was a complaining neighbor about that, so there was a citation issued. And then in 2020, an approval was granted by the town to build this large shop. And there were no more complaints after that, and so I think that you built that shop to house your equipment.
Yeah, and that's what the whole majority of that is for,
Right,
we've been cut that, there's our neighbor. Next door to us that joins our property, well, actually, their property doesn't join it, but it's over for,
yeah,
and I did all their work, all their site work and everything.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, we put the pole barn up so we can store the equipment in there and keep it out of the sight of my neighbors. And, right now we moved everything around the front and we're gonna pour concrete. So, pour that, yeah.
then the question might be, if you're gonna convert a portion of the building down to living space. Can all your equipment still fit in the barn?
Yeah, because it's a two-story apartment, so it's got a narrow footprint that's 14.5 feet wide. And it spans the whole far end, and it's 2 stories, that way we can maximize and keep most of our shop space.
So all the equipment will be inside?
Yeah.
Yeah,
there was another one that was about their septic, because they were concerned about planting trees, but it looks like they have the health department.
Yeah,
And
they
that's a
already
fact,
got all their.
So,
right, yeah, and that resident, stuff going on tonight. It did sound like from, they own the property behind you at 1120 Huntington.
but then that's what I want.
It does sound like that, maybe there's, and I mean, certainly you could call, if they want to speak more, but, probably give people that as well. But, that due to the proximity of the barn, so close to the property line, that, I mean, I think you can see it kind of on here, that there's encroachment into their property. So,
That's the driveway that comes up to the.
no, this,
It-
the driveway is right here. I'm talking about where the barn is right here.
Okay,
Looks like there was just, you can tell that
someone might have mowed there.
it's an old image, but
On the newer image, I noticed where there's like the corner, maybe there was a fence, it seemed like there's a. Well, it's hard to explain because it's not on this image, but
Yeah.
you could see.
do you hear from the resident? I don't know if, Glenn, if you want to speak about that, is that, do you want to have that, or not wait till? public
Let's wait for a
hearing?
public
Yeah.
hearing.
Okay, hang on, one second.
Okay, does anyone on the planning board have any other?
Well, just,
comments or-
I guess my thought, reading some of these comments, are like some feel like out of our. Like, they seem more code enforcement than planning. Am I getting that right? I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to know that everything will be housed. I mean, that was a question I had, but. Like, if they are on their lawn a little bit or those kind of things, like, I don't.
If they are.
If they are encroaching or things like that, like, if it's. Like there was a mowed path or something, like, does that even fall on us as a planning board to look at?
To the building.
Right.
Footprint's already
The
there.
footprint.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, it
that's,
sounds like maybe, and again, the neighbor might be able to say more during the public hearing, but that there's a fence and encroachment happening on the property, and, so something the board, right, I mean, is this a zoning issue, is this a planning issue, is this something that the board needs to look at or not? I mean, one thing that came to my mind is that, potentially, I mean, often a pretty standard condition of approval can be to add a fence, along the property line, just to delineate it, make it, can be a good neighbor fence, it doesn't need to be some, like opaque fence that you can't, see over, I mean, it could be even just something as a delineating, feature. That's one option, it's just a kind of a good neighbor effort to do. And so I think, because you're, right, the question is, converting this building to a dwelling, how does that change what's if there is encroachment happening, how does that impact that or not, right? I mean, not converting it to the dwelling, there still might be encroachment. I would say that because there's an approval put forth for the town, a discretionary approval, there is an opportunity to, within reason, correct some things and to make sure things are whole and kind of cleaned up. If the board wants, or the board doesn't do, do that.
And then with the septic goes too, that would be something we'd want to see.
They
where
have-
Yeah.
Outside of the improvements, but all departments, so.
So in that spot, that was not a function.
Oh, I see what you're saying,
Yeah,
right.
as long as that won't disturb the neighbors. then fine, it's just-
Yeah, I mean, when I don't know if there's ever been a time where a municipality has said to the health department, we disagree with where you're putting the septic going because there might be an issue with the neighboring property owner. I've never seen that here in Danby or other municipalities.
Yeah. I was just asking this to. On that,
Yeah,
how that works, but
yeah, I think it's a good question where if somebody, a neighbor is concerned about a septic being so close to their property, it's. It begs the question, well, does the town able to, modify that, I would say.
What is
But,
right,
What's too close?
but it's, right, that's another
Right.
question.
Yeah, I feel like it's
We do-
an engineer's job.
Yeah.
We thought this was all of that.
This is a
So the
stand-
state- This is that's done by the state
Right.
health department,
Uh,
which they have to come out and their architect or their
Yeah.
engineer design that system.
And look at
Which-
property.
And we have to go through the stages. Once we put the bottom in, the middle in, the top in,
Yeah.
so it's all designed by them. They're the ones that tell you how far it has to be from the property.
Oh,
And they do all,
They
of
are-
it, and they
Their
verify that
engineer looks at
the
the property.
engineer's already done it. That's who did it. We did not.
and that was part of the
It's
consideration.
part of
The application.
Yeah.
but it's just that it's their jurisdiction, it's not.
No,
No, they did, their engineer.
they dictate, we have to do a test hole for them. They decide by New York State law how close it can be. It has to be 100 feet from a well. We have to make sure that that's done and
Which it is.
compliant, which it is. So we do a lot of this. Everything is there, so we know that.
So,
And we're on their active contractors for doing septic systems and pockets now. So we know that that's exactly what they want, and we can't even change that ourselves. We have to put it right where they want it,
Yeah.
and then they have a designated area for replacement system.
In the future.
For the future system.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, no problem.
And just a note, while we got the septic system, that plan of how it shows the house with a dormer kind of thing that.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that.
I figured that was just their typical stamp,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, looks like a
I
house.
think it was
throw it.
either, yeah, they're gonna format for a barn.
Yeah.
Public hearing.
No, but you guys
Yeah.
are good. Okay, all right, and I will open public hearing if there's no other planning board comment. Anyone, well, yep, just come up here so people can hear you if you don't mind, please.
Okay, whether they want to.
Oh, and if you could say who you are.
Mine, John Bloom, I'm the neighbor, to the east,
You can say that.
or 1016 Coddington. To the east, I think, right, I'm the neighbor to the east. Whether, they, build an apartment or for this young man, that's none of my business. Yeah,
Yeah.
that, we don't have any objection to that. I mean, obviously, that's a good thing. For that, I think our main concern was one that was addressed is, is the equipment still gonna fit in the pole barn? Because it was an eyesore before. I appreciate them building this and that reduced that. It wasn't a problem for this. And, now the equipment's outside, so it's a little bit of an eyesore, but I understand it's going through a thing. So our main concern is that there will be enough room left in the pole barn that the equipment won't be visible, because it's, it's clearly, it's right in our line of sight, and it's very close. So that's our main concern about this stuff like that.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else in the room? Rhonda?
Yes, I just wanted to check on something that wasn't mentioned. As far as I know, state law does not permit a barn that is in an ag district to become a residence without being taken out of the ag district. So I wanted to make sure that this barn is not in an ag district. That wasn't mentioned in any of the documentation. So it cannot be in an ag district.
Was it approved as a barn though, or as the
No.
accessory structure?
It's proved as just a storage.
Accessories,
Not
yeah.
as an agricultural barn.
Right,
But I'll still check on the.
on the district.
I don't think it is.
Well, the owner should definitely know whether he's in an ag district or not.
It changes
We're
so
not- we're
often.
not in ag district.
No. No.
Anyone else?
I'm looking it up.
Oh. I'm Len Bartel. I live up at 1120 on the top of the hill. And I couldn't hear quite all the conversation. And I don't know if this is a zoning or a code thing. It looks like the septic is, and I heard some conversation around septic again. The mic's not great. I just don't know how far that needs to be set off the barn and how offset from the property line that our half of the meadow abuts up to. We were walking that the other day, and I think that comment that I had emailed in earlier, because I don't know if I was gonna be able to make it tonight. They clearly know where the property lines are because they mow right up to it, at least on the GPS of the property, and that path goes right through ours, which is not a huge deal. But there's also kind of wood dumped on our property and other stuff. And so I just want to make sure that there's enough setback from our property with the septic, and it's probably going to have to be pretty sizable for a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot dwelling. We're going to be planting fruit trees down there, and we want to make sure that all of that stuff is I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and it has space to be there. Because when I spoke with the planner earlier, I thought it was going to be the septic was between the house and the barn, but it's between the barn and our property. And just to where's the equipment going to go? I think some of the equipment already is living outside of the barn, so I don't know how much more, if that actually fits in at night. I don't know, and I'm not up there a lot. We're moving up there full time in November, and so taking out a sliver of the barn would, I'm assuming, result in more equipment outside of the building. I guess those are my main concerns, just so that we don't, bear the effects of a sizable septic that we're downhill from. We're already downhill from a lot of runoff from, I'm assuming, from the barn, from the ramp around that area. And I'm not sure how that's all handled, but I guess those are my main comments. Beth, I don't know if you have anything to say. I see you're on the call. She's our neighbor on the top of the hill.
Thank you, Len. Yeah, I think they noted earlier that they were already taking equipment out in preparation of the construction. But my advice to you would be make sure it's all back in when it's done, or
Yeah.
you're gonna hear about it.
So, I just have a quick question. To define equipment, anything that's registered would not be a piece of equipment, because someone that owned, another house could have 10 cars that are registered, right?
That's fine, but
Okay.
if it's a
So
commercial,
trailers,
If it's like a backhoe or dozer,
It looks like a duck and quacks like a duck. I mean, if I go up there to look at it as zoning officer, and you know, it's for your business, it's gotta be storage signs. Yeah, you're allowed one commercial vehicle outside uncovered, everything else is inside. We do, we don't get many complaints. Danby's pretty reasonable, people seem to talk to neighbors and get along.
Yeah.
Well, but the complaint that I get the most is when people have a home business. And we want this to do well, but when they buy another vehicle or another piece of equipment, creeps outside, people get upset about that. So Danby's rules are that you can have one vehicle outside, one commercial vehicle outside. Everything else has gotta be stored away. So I'd say just keep it out of sight, and, you know, keep it inside.
How does Danby work with Airbnbs in Danby now?
That's, we're not, well, that's a whole, well, we gotta stick to the agenda. Sorry to over.
No, you're right.
Okay.
And there's,
I'm wondering how that, just wanted to mention that.
We can talk about that later, but.
Yeah, sorry.
yeah, let's,
Okay.
That'd be good.
For what it's
Alright.
worth, according to the 2021 Ag District map published on Cornell's website, Autumn Ridge Lane is not in an Ag District.
okay, thanks, Ted. Anyone else? Okay, then I will close the public hearing. Oh, to Len's point, I was gonna say, there are dimensions on this material that, show the size of the septic system, but it, on this, it doesn't specifically call out the distance from the property line as far as I can tell from what I'm reading.
Yeah, I didn't see details of size. I just saw there was a big kind of oval circle partway between our property line and the barn. So, and it was located between the two. So. I don't know.
There's a more detailed, do you want to throw it up on the screen?
Yeah.
Or do they not have, is it not in the public folder?
No, it is.
Okay.
And you gotta look at what I had said to you on the phone was that the septic system is to the north of the barn. I did not say it was between the barn and the house. And in the folder for Autumn Lane, 121 Autumn Lane, the wastewater treatment plan. And that is the permit from the health department, so I'll put it up on the screen.
Okay.
But it is also, it says it's not to scale, so it's.
But also, in case you didn't hear, you say you had trouble hearing, we have no authority over where the septic goes.
Yeah, that's what I thought I heard. Yeah. So who does?
The health
The
department,
health department,
Okay. Yeah.
environmental.
which they've already received the permit based on this information. It sounds like you
Yeah.
already have the permit in hand, this is the permit more or less. Yeah. Yeah,
This is the.
this is the permit, yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, any other comments among the board? Okay. Does we need to make is there a proposal on this one? Did you write up
Yeah,
a,
No, I didn't know enough of this one,
The
just deny, approve, or approve with conditions. So if somebody is thinking of, I mean, one type of condition could just simply be, ensure that the equipment for the home business is inside the rest of the home. That would be a suggestion.
And, following your comment about a fence, I don't know how you feel about it. You're gonna need a fence, maybe 4 or 5 posts along the line. Would that be problematic in any way? Would they feel better? Does it matter? Would it do any good, or does it not matter at all? Putting in 4 or 5 posts would,
Yeah,
we
could put some.
just so everybody knows.
It would probably be grateful to have it resurveyed, because I think the previous owner before us, and I'm sorry if I'm speaking out of turn if you close public session, but I think the previous owner asked Thomas's to dig back some of the ramp. And I think that has been filled out and grown some. So at the very least, a resurvey so everyone knows what the lines are down there would be great.
I mean, I think, okay. I was gonna say, you're not building anything.
Yeah, like, we
It's
don't-
not-
Any
it's not a big
footprint, so I don't know if
It's,
but
you know,
It's
we're
an
not
ex-
building,
it's an
it's not
existing
building, it's existing.
yeah.
Right.
So how does changing anything inside the building warrant,
No,
other than talking amongst neighbors?
No, as I said earlier, it's you having to get a discretionary approval by the planning board kind of opens things up a little bit to some degree where, not that the board is going to go through property, look at everything and make sure everything is in compliance and whatsoever, you know, none of that, I'm not gonna do that, but some things are sort of fair game to ask and look at. So if there's a neighbor saying that there's been encroachment on their property, it's okay to discuss and maybe, you know, the board could condition approval to address that. I'm not hearing that maybe there's a lot of interest in doing that, so it sounds like, you know, you're fine, but it does sound like also I'm hearing from a neighbor that maybe just inadvertently you might be going on their property, because maybe it's just not a used part of their property and be unclear what the boundaries are. But the approval for that barn showed it to be 10 feet to the property line, so 10 feet is, you know, from me to Jake. It's not far at all. So I would just say if there's anything of yours beyond that distance, I'd recommend, it's not gonna be conditioned, I'd recommend pulling that back into your property. Cause it sounds like Glenn mentioned he's gonna plant some fruit trees down that area anyway, so you'll probably see.
Nobody wants to plant.
And I don't wanna make this acrimonious in any way, I just wanna make sure that we know where the lines are and that we're not gonna be impacted by a large septic for the apartment, that's all.
I just also want to know that it's a change of use.
Yeah.
So that's why zoning is involved, like zoning
I
regulates,
understand that,
yeah.
yeah, it's going.
And
Did
the-
you
the
wanna make-
neighbor's also free to also get a survey, I mean.
Yeah, that's my thought on that.
We could share the cost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
friendly
They could
neighbor.
share it, the cost.
I'd be willing to split the cost. And then, you know, if there is any dirt or anything that has pushed over that, because obviously our barn is up on a hill, right? So if there is some dirt that's created a slope over their property line, we could just simply take that back, that's not a problem. If he's willing to split the surveying costs, because you know, that is super cheap now. It's
No, it's like $1,000.
like $1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, if he'd be willing to just come down and streamline it, but if he wants to go through and have it surveyed, I'd be willing to pay for that. I think that's fair.
Well,
I'll let you guys work that out.
Yeah.
I don't think we need a survey.
Then that-
Yeah,
Yep.
maybe you could just meet
Sure.
and agree,
Yeah.
yeah, this is good.
I feel like maybe the
Put some
money's better
posts
spent on a fence.
Pardon?
The money might be better spent on a fence, like make better neighbors, but
Fence probably wouldn't be so-
You gotta have a survey to put the fence in the right place.
Fence.
I know, yeah,
Why
you know.
can't fence?
Yeah, we are.
Just some posts.
But we
Yeah.
don't resolve that.
Alright,
But
so
maybe you
the
could-
public hearing is
With your.
closed.
Mute them,
Yeah.
Is it?
Okay.
Scott,
yeah.
I don't.
I was gonna say,
Let's just make a motion.
let's let them work out their
That's not it.
conversations. I don't think they need to involve the whole town in their intermediate
Okay,
agreements.
so we need to have a motion or
Yeah, or a motion with conditions if you wanna put any conditions on it.
I make a motion to.
I'm gonna second that.
Yeah, I mean, all of those there.
Alright,
What exactly are we?
roll call,
So we're approving,
Approving
Yeah.
the change of
changing.
yes.
um,
Right, there's a motion on the floor, right?
Yeah,
And it's been
motion
seconded,
and a
so-
second.
So it's gotta be voted on. Before we do anything else? Yes.
Holbert,
Yes.
Helen,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Benucci. Yes. Miles,
Yes. All right. Is there anything you need to tell them, Greg, or are we good?
I did. You guys are all set. And I've got that permit on my desk. We'll see you guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Filters. How that all works.
I don't know, actually, all that technically how, but
This was like half sand filter.
Now that you're between items, it was observed by Ted earlier. Greg, you're really hard to understand, especially when you lean back. You're barely within range of the microphone.
Can you hear me? How do I sound?
Echoey.
Echoey.
What you're getting is all kinds of ambient noise that people have always observed is present in that room.
I just want to remind, everyone's always invited to come in person. Like, we do our best every meeting.
Well,
We hear it.
I know you do, but there's a technical solution to what you have that you haven't implemented in years.
I think it's an improvement from the other microphones.
it is definitely improvement from the.
Finally here.
Yeah, Ted, I would take you up on the offer to help with the audio as long as there's not 15 microphones tangling around each other.
I was actually thinking just one on your desk.
Yeah, okay, we could do that.
Moving on.
All right, on to 58 Jersey Hill Road. This is for the single family dwelling unit on the previously approved subdivision plot. For Kyle. Which we've seen many
I
times.
know, I'm like, this better be easy.
Let's see, we need to. Do we need to do seeker? No seeker, because we did that all as part of the subdivision. So if there are no comments or questions from the board on this proposal, which I don't imagine there are, I can open for public hearing. Anybody? All right, I will open public hearing. Does anyone have any comments or questions on this property? Okay, sounds good. Closing public hearing. Thank you for being detailed in your dimensions and locations. I know I can't remember from the previous, was there an existing well you were using for this, or you're putting in a new well?
New one.
New well, okay. And this is also because this is just a dwelling review. We don't have a proposal necessarily either, unless anyone wants to make any conditions, but I think all the conditions were on the subdivision.
Right.
I think the only things noted in the report from Greg were, dark sky compliant exterior lighting, which we typically do.
Yep.
I'm up, motion, can we just?
Said it was fence.
Oh.
You can
Split the
work
cost.
that out. I'm not going down that rabbit hole again.
Can I make a motion?
Sure.
Can we just
What is it?
Yep.
approve it?
Just
Yeah,
approval?
just
All right,
approve it.
sounds good.
Okay.
I can second. Oh, no.
Yes.
Holbert?
I guess I gotta.
Probably abstain. Helen?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Driver?
Yes.
Benucci?
Yes.
Meyer? Yes.
Is there still a time to demand a fence around the whole property?
All 1,000 something, 2,000 something linear feet.
That would be expensive.
Yeah.
That,
All right. And
Hey, moving right along.
all right, on to 129 Hornbrook Road. This is the proposal for the subdivision of the lot known as the auto salvage property. The property had been previously subdivided but not properly filed, so we're looking at it. I thought it looked really familiar, and then you said 2022, I was like, oh, okay. So, yeah, so there, do you mind putting up the map?
Yeah, you want an area?
Sure.
Or
Either,
the zoning map, actually just, see if you want to see the zoning map, this is the delineation or.
sure, let's start on the zoning and then we can look at the aerial if people need to see where the buildings are. But
This is. This is I wasn't sure if I'm hard to hear, just let me know, I'll scooch in a little bit closer. Or try to come in. So here's the zoning of the property, it is it's 9 acre property roughly. And it's split zone, there's not many split zoned properties in Danby, but this is one of them, so the majority of the property is zoned rural 1. And there's about 2 and 2.5 acres zoned commercial C, it's in that pink right up here. And yeah, there was, so the proposal, I believe, and I don't want to speak for Joseph on the call, but is to basically just carve out that commercial C from the rural 1, which in my opinion, I think would make it a little bit cleaner too. So I'll just leave it there, and maybe if you want to let Joe, give a talk.
yeah, Joe, I don't know if you want to say anything. If you do, you're welcome to do so, but
Oh,
Got to unmute
You're-
stuff.
oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, we just want to break the commercial piece away from the 109 acres. It just wasn't submitted, I guess. I'm kind of in the middle of this. Both partners have passed. My father passed in February of 24, and his partner just passed this July. So we have 2 estates. We're trying to figure out all these little issues, and we just want to continue with breaking this piece apart off the 109 acres.
all right, thank you. Yep. Is there really like a weird little sliver in the back? Can that be like amended after back
Yeah,
to make it part of the not commercial?
We'll probably straighten that line. That back line will probably be straightened out.
Well, the zoning can. You mean for the zoning to be straightened out?
Yeah, like it's just, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. No one's gonna probably try to do anything with it, but
I
some
see what you
weird
mean.
little sliver to have left over after you're subdividing
You
the properties to fix
Do
it.
business in that little spot. Without
But
real
that's
access.
another. It's fine. Forget I said
It
it.
almost might be, yeah, right, I mean, so Joe, what Kelly's saying is that, I mean, I imagine that. Your proposal, if you can see my mouse, it's gonna just kind of cut back straight.
Right.
And what Kelly's saying is, we're gonna have left over sort of this little triangle of commercial zone area.
Yeah, I didn't know if on the town side we could do anything, but we'd have to go through a whole amendment process, right?
The town board could amend the zoning map, which wouldn't be hard to do, it just kind of opens up.
I think that back line, when we sold that lot next door, we were gonna just go off that back line. Off Carrero's line, yes.
Oh, so it might just be that the map is a
I
little off.
don't, yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen that sliver.
All right, then I'm not gonna worry about
It's
it. It
probably-
does look crooked on this too, like it's like a trapezoidal and not so square, so I don't.
I think that was on the old map, and then when we sold that lot next door, we straightened it out. And I don't know why that sliver is still there, but
Okay. We'll move on. Okay, so we need to, we need to declare lead agency if there's no questions or comments on the plan. And then, schedule public hearing and decide if we want to review the environmental significance tonight or next month.
But we're gonna talk about all that stuff that we put around on email, we might wanna wrap up and move that part to next month, like declare lead agency tonight, the new list.
The amendment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next month,
Yep, okay.
that's okay.
I'll make a motion to declare lead agency.
I'll second it.
Bergman,
Yes.
Colbert,
Yep.
Cowan,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Ryder,
Yes.
Januski,
Yes.
Monica.
Yes. And I think we decided we're making motions, so I'll make a motion to schedule public hearing for November meeting.
I'll second again.
Bergman,
Yes.
Colbert,
Yep.
Cowan,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Ryder,
Yes.
Januski.
Yes.
Monica.
Yes.
And on that, Joe, I remember talking with Donna about this, about the survey. Where are you with getting the property surveyed and the new lot line shown? Do you have a timeline on that?
I just realized before I got on that I don't think we got you that copy. TG Miller was supposed to get it to us last week. So I will work on that.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's good that you've already engaged them because the planning board meeting in November is November 18th. And we need to do public notice of public hearing and everything. There's a little bit of a time lag for that. So I really need everything to me by the end of this month.
Okay, yeah, not a problem. They were supposed to get it out to us, but they must have forgot or something. Yeah, I'll take care of that.
And do you just want to work with him to complete the environmental assessment? Because there's a number of blank
Oh, I don't know.
open items, at least on my copy there are. It's nothing significant, they're just blank right now, so we'll just need it filled out for the next meeting.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
All right. I think Greg will follow up with you, Joe, and we will see you in November and hopefully get you your approval then.
Okay, thank you very much. About the sign on the main road, this
Yes.
is the first I've heard of it. My father never even mentioned it to me. I didn't even know that they went to this meeting and talked about the sign. If you want the sign down, I'll take the sign down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, it is grandfathered in prior to any recent restrictions in zoning.
Right.
Right, but it is,
Oh.
it just says auto salvage on it and it doesn't really
I
have any
I can,
purpose.
I can take the auto salvage name off and repaint the sign and I don't know.
I think I'd rather have it taken down.
Uh,
Are you going to
okay.
keep that land?
No, that land was sold over 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
We sold it to Larry David, so.
Okay, so if it's not your property, I don't think you want to go knock it down.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I mean, we got a
Yeah.
pretty good relationship with them, so if we can take the sign, it's our sign. I thought it's our sign, so I guess.
Joe,
That would be great. Thank you.
Joe, I'll just say that nobody from the town is asking you to take the sign down.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for addressing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Greg, are you leading the charge?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
And
so we will open up our
And-
review of zoning amendment.
and when you want to cut me
conversation.
off, when we've had enough, right? Just it's your meeting, so why don't I just come on in? All right. So, and I can put these up on the screen. If you recall, we looked at these in July. It was right before I went out for leave. And there were some good comments that kind of made me go back to the drawing board here, and then bring them back to the regulatory review committee. So let's just kind of get in here. The two main comments last time were that, and a lot of this came actually from John Szymanski. Sort of his input on this was really helpful because fresh set of eyes. He said, "Wait a minute, does this make sense?" One of them was that the planner was kind of tied up in the review using the design guidelines. So his suggestion, and it makes sense, is to pull out the planner from having to review anything against the design guidelines. I used to work for a municipality where we did apply design guidelines as staff. That was in a different state. Maybe there was just different laws and things like that. So, John's suggestion, I think it's a good one, is just remove that. The design guidelines should be where the planning board is. If there's any development that triggers the need for the design guidelines, it should go to the planning board for that, so that the planner isn't using some kind of discretionary, guidelines to do that. The other change, and we'll kind of go through these here, but I just want to sort of highlight as a summary. The other change was that one of the proposals for the Hamlet Center, and there's the Hamlet Center zone district and the Hamlet neighborhood. Hamlet Center, we thought as a committee of, and I proposed this, and there was some support for this, was to try to make it easier for people to reuse buildings in the Hamlet Center. So thinking about the Danby Food and Drink, right? It was an old garage, and Karthik had to go through a site plan review, and there was a couple of variances. So some of the amendments or proposals were about how to make it easier for potential businesses reusing buildings without having to demo a building, and just to make it easier for that. So the original proposal was where certain uses required site plan review, to say, well, if you're moving into this building and it's not more than 4,000 square feet, with an addition or just existing, and you're not disturbing by more than half an acre by like the land itself, you don't need to go through site plan review. You can just go through a building permit. I think maybe that was a little bit too broad of a brush of stroke. The feedback that I heard from the planning board was, well, maybe some of these uses, like a gas station, for example, who's going to reuse a building as a gas station? They're probably going to have, or like a funeral home, or, maybe take a closer look at this list, and maybe it should be broken down into uses that require site plan review and uses that can just go through building permit. I went back and looked at it, and maybe I took the easy route, but I said, you know what? Why don't we just keep it as is, keep the list as is, where it's just these uses are allowed by site plan review, even if it's a use like the Danby Food and Drink, where it's just a reuse of a building. So those were the biggest changes since last time. And I can kind of sort of scroll through. If you have questions about that, we can jump to that. So that we're in the Hamlet neighborhood, and the proposals I'll sort of just go through vehicle parking for new buildings. So this is trying to say, if you're in an existing building and you're just reusing it, you don't need to meet these parking requirements. Meaning you can have parking in front of the building if you're reusing a building. So a change of use in an existing building is exempt from this requirement, because in here it's trying to chuck parking behind the building to the side. Well, what if your building is 100 feet from the road? Might make sense, like part of the market, to put the parking right up front. This section of Hamlet neighborhood, yeah, come on in. This is about the corner lot provision, as it's called. So principal uses permitted only by site plan approval and only allowed on corner lots. The proposal is to say, or on Danby Road or Route 96B. So meaning if you have property in the Hamlet neighborhood, which is essentially from Miller down to Michigan. There's a couple of properties north and south of those roads that are in the Hamlet neighborhood. I can pull up a map too if you want to kind of see that. If you have property fronting onto Danby Road, you can have one of these. You can have this use. You're not restricted to corners anymore.
Good.
Why we're not just removing this altogether? Well, there's West Danby. And if you're familiar with West Danby, that hamlet in the state route down there, it's a much different road type down there. There's less site visibility when you're kind of going through on that road. So the thought was keep West Danby, the hamlet neighborhood down there as is, only allow these types of uses on corners. This one gained up was a lot of this proposal generated, I think, most discussion was just removing the 20-foot maximum setback altogether in the Hamlet neighborhood zone districts. We've seen 4 variances for this. Now, granted, those variances all had their own unique circumstances, which resulted in being approved a variance, but it's a pretty good indication that maybe this setback doesn't quite work. We tried to look at this many different ways on the committee. Maybe go by road type. Maybe Danby Road should be 100 feet and someplace down like Maple Avenue. I always pick on Maple Avenue down in West End because I really like that road. All the houses are really close to the road. Maybe that road should be more like 30 feet, as a maximum setback. Again, maximum, meaning you cannot build further than 20 feet from the road. I did a whole analysis of all the roads and setbacks, and the standard deviation was just wildly all over the place, that I just said, why not? My proposal to the committee is, why not just remove it?
But then in the guidelines, it says something about
Right.
I forget, in the context, or that the intent is to keep things as close to the road, something like that. I forget exactly the wording, but.
Right, and that's a good segue. So what we found was that, actually going on to this next section of proposed amendments, is that it starts, these requirements in the zoning law impact the design guidelines. And so we started to look at the design guidelines to amend. So I'll jump to that next, but you'll see this proposal here, which is to just make it very clear that for form and architecture requirements, currently in the zoning, architecture requirements is its own section, but just make one section of form and architecture requirements, saying that all new buildings and uses that require site plan review must comply with Appendix 2 Commercial and Hamlet Design Guidelines. Before I'm going to just scroll down to the architecture so you can see what it initially said. If this is kind of a little hard to see. this is where John brought up, kind of flagged this, and this is maybe was an issue. This is what the original proposal said for architecture requirements, all new buildings over 1,500 square feet in the Hamlet neighborhood zone, including residential buildings, must comply with the building design section of the Town of Danby Commercial Design Guidelines. So what happened, I mean, I only had to, there was a house here on East Miller that was over this limit. I think it was 1,600 square feet. So I read this standard and said, okay, you have to meet these design guidelines. And that owner didn't have to go to the planning board for approval for his house. He had to come to the planning board for a subdivision, and yeah, there was a subdivision of his property, but not the review of his house. So I had to use the design guidelines, and I worked it out with the property owner to meet the design guidelines. And this is the comment from John saying, those got to be separate. The planner shouldn't be using the design guidelines. I might be able to say, hey, would you please meet these design guidelines? But I can't, as an administrator, say, you have to meet these design guidelines. It should really be in the planning board's approval. So the proposal to just remove that, and I'm going to jump back up to the top to finish that thought, is that it's just making clear for these form and architectural requirements for new buildings that all new buildings and uses that require site plan review, meaning they come to the planning board, have to comply with the design guidelines. This is just for in the hamlet, and along the state routes. And when we go to the design guidelines, you'll see that. So it's not everywhere in town.
So would that still protect us from when we had Dollar General or whatever wanting to do a building?
Or
And
like some store that came in bright yellow, big yellow signs, we wouldn't want them, like, these are guidelines they'd have to follow, correct?
so we would still have guidelines about that. Because otherwise, sooner or later, it's going to happen to us.
Yep, it's still very much, there might be an argument saying, well, if you're removing a code requirement, putting them in guidelines, maybe they're less enforceable. You might be able to make an argument for that, but I think if the planning board I think the planning board has its tools there to push to meet those design guidelines. I was gonna say the planning board is smart enough, but I didn't want to sort of motivated enough. I mean, you could look at the design guidelines and say, no, you don't need to meet these, but I don't think that would. I think that would be a failure of your duties. It's you have to apply those design guidelines. So the big change here is then removing all of these standards and putting them into the design guidelines. So talking about principal entrance facing a street, architectural detail for primary entrances, new buildings need to fill a minimum of 40% of the lot width in the neighborhood. Buildings with commercial uses must include transparent windows with a view, to the building interior. Again, just putting these all in the design guidelines, it still gives the planning board that tool. It's just in a different area. So anyway, all the proposals to move all those into the guidelines. And any questions on that? I'll kind of pause.
When, we'll have those printed, so if somebody comes to you, so we'll have something in print or online, so if somebody comes in and says, I want to do this, it's like, okay, well, here's the guidelines, if you go online and find it.
Oh, absolutely.
So they would already know
Yeah.
before they even have to come to us, so for us to talk about it they should know, because it's in writing.
Oh, yeah, it's on the PDF of the zoning law, and slight tangent to that, we're really close, the town is very close to having all of these laws and maybe guidelines, so I should check on that, but codified online, so they'll all be on e-code.
So you can just search.
You can just,
Search the thing, it just takes you there, you can print it.
it's very easy, yeah.
Cleans it up and
Yeah,
kind of streamline the process.
yeah, but right now, like our zoning law online, it has the guidelines attached to it, so if it says go to appendix 2, if you know what you're doing, you should scroll through and go to appendix 2 and see what you've got to do.
Just
I hate
hope
to-
you land
I
on the
gotta
right
go.
page
Okay,
out of
kid.
5
All right.
pages.
Yeah. I'll see.
Appreciate it, guys. Have fun.
Thanks, Jake.
Yep. The landscaping requirements, nothing was changed since July. These were all thanks to Jamie for
Yeah.
helping out with these. Yeah, I think it strengthens the landscaping requirements. We proposed to remove one of them because it felt like it wasn't enforceable. I think that was the comment. And that's it for the Hamlet neighborhood. Hamlet Center is similar, but I'll just pause there for Hamlet neighborhood. Hamlet Center is similar. And Leslie, to your comment, I did sort of change some of the, I think Leslie, you had asked about the capitals, use of capital letters and say, I don't know, kind of formatting comments. But again, similar comment or similar proposal, vehicle parking for new buildings so that you're helping out a reuse of an existing building so they don't have to meet every requirement. I think it just makes it easier for folks trying to reuse a building and not have to get a lot of trouble. Site plan approval again. So this is that list that I initially had this proposal that said, well, if you're reusing the building and you're under 4,000 square feet, you're not disturbing more than half an acre of the site, you can just fast track to a building permit. And I think the planning board said,
Thanks for reading the, it sounds okay, they just get through it, you're like hospitals, gas stations, like it's a lot that could just,
yeah, you know, some of these, if like care centers,
Right.
adult care could probably just be fine to just go through a building permit. Banks, you know, there's gonna be a lot of traffic with banks. You might want to take a look at that. So maybe I just said, my thought was, why not just keep it as is, not rock the boat too much. All these uses, so the proposal is that all these uses just stay as is, go to site plan review, whether you're existing building or not. Again, setbacks for new buildings, so removing the 20-foot maximum setback. And it's the same thing from here on out. So form and architectural requirements got put into one. It's a very small section. It just simply says all new buildings and uses that require site plan review must comply with Appendix 2 commercial and Hamlet design guidelines. And then these are all verbatim, well, nearly verbatim from Hamlet neighborhood. There's a couple of the percentages that are a little different for Hamlet Center. But otherwise those got captured in the proposed design guidelines, which I can jump to next unless there's any other questions. So again, see, this kind of tied the planner into having to use the design guidelines for certain reviews, even if they weren't site plan review. And as I said, I did it once for a former job, but I'm okay not having to do that because it definitely, yeah, there's more of a conversation, you know, it's not like yes or no, you know, you need it. Landscaping requirements, same amendments. That is it. I can switch over to the design guidelines. Any questions on the Hamlet Center though? So these are the guidelines. They were currently right now, they're called the commercial design guidelines. Maybe it's just semantics, but adding in and Hamlet design guidelines because they really are primarily touching the hamlets, but they're also for the state route. So the proposal, yeah, is to I guess we could.
I think we moved that back, didn't we?
Uh,
Across that one, the objective piece back into the,
Say that again, Kelly?
didn't we move that part about the objective back into the actual Hamlet section?
This objective here.
Yeah.
You mean that it was supposed to be not deleted or what's?
No, never mind, forget it.
Okay.
I can't remember.
But it was duplicated.
Okay. This is just saying that anyone involved in the site plan process in the hamlets and along Route 34, 96 and 96B corridors. So there's a number of things outside of the hamlets that would trigger site plan review, as we know, if you impact a stream corridor, habitat corridor, there's aquifer overlays. I don't know if they're over the state routes though, but there's other things that, even if you're not just on the list of site plan uses, you still might trigger site plan review. So you'd have to go through, meet these guidelines. So again, most of the additions, all that the changes are to the design guidelines are additions. They're mostly verbatim from the zoning standards that got moved in. The only one that's not verbatim is that 20-foot maximum. What the committee landed on is saying that new buildings should be sited as close to the street as reasonably possible without infringing upon the right of way or no further from the street than adjacent buildings. So meaning if your neighbors are 80 feet and 100 feet back from the road, you should be sited as close to the street as possible, but it's reasonable too if you want to be maybe sited 90 feet back because your neighbors are 80 and 100. It's creating a little bit of consistency there. So that was, everything else is basically verbatim to be put back in. And so, the corner lots, I think, was another one that we added. So corner lots are required to have the building as close to the corner as practical with the principal entrance facing one or both streets. That was in the design guidance from before, actually. Maybe it was in a different section, but and the lot width requirement that buildings need to fill a lot width of 40% lot width in the Hamlet neighborhood and 60% of the lot. I should say lot width, actually, that's in the Hamlet center zone. Still clear. Building design. And I'm wondering when's the last time the planning board looked at these design guidelines, like for review? I haven't.
Probably not since Dollar General was here.
Yeah, I mean,
I
that
think
was,
that's the last time we looked, and they only came to one, I think, maybe 2 meetings where we lightly touched on it.
they came to, yeah, partly because it was pretty early in the process that we said it's not gonna look exactly like the way you do it, the thing you plop down
I
everywhere.
feel like they backed out for a different, like. so
I
they
think
could
it's
driveway or
something about the
something.
site, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was because of
But-
the, saying the parking had to be in the back.
Maybe.
That they didn't want to do, and something about the windows was a big issue too, I think.
I'm sure there's some-
Tower Johnny.
Mhm.
Yeah,
The water.
the water.
I thought it was a septic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I think it was really,
Site
now that you
review.
say
The
that, I think it
septic.
was about the septic that they backed out, but I think that was the last time we looked at it, cause that's the last time we had anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like any new development.
Right. The market, Danby Food and Drink, I guess, it didn't meet the size, it didn't meet the threshold of the 1,500 square feet, because it's a 900 square foot
Mhm.
building.
Right.
Now the proposal is saying, just anything that goes through site plan review needs to meet these. I'm wondering, as we're sitting here talking, how the planning board would use a reuse of a building and how they would apply guidelines.
Yeah.
be a little flexible, I don't know.
Again, if we're trying to reuse a building instead of having somebody come knock it down and build something
Mhm.
bigger or different,
Yeah.
then it sounds like. we should
And
be
very different
flexible.
architecture. I mean,
Right,
we really want to keep the hamlet in particular.
Yeah.
Looking like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they were just straight up using it as it is, it'd be hard to impose them changing things, if they
Yeah.
were modifying certain features of it, then we could apply it to those features, I would think, or we would look at it in the lens of applying it to those features.
Didn't we have something about a percentage of like alterations? So, like if it was like.
We did, but I think we took it out.
I think.
Yeah, that was one of the discussions, but then we took it out. But if you were altering a building by X percentage,
40% or something.
then it would be triggered,
Right.
or if the addition was X number of square,
I-
whatever that was. That was when we had the square foot number, but
Yeah.
then when that went away, we nixed all of it.
Yeah.
Right, so it originally was a percentage saying. If you're reusing the building or, or no, yeah, right, if you're not proposing an addition that's greater than X percent.
Yeah.
You don't need to meet these or things, and then we just went to a straight. Gross floor area. The 4,000 square feet, then we kind of nix that. I think it's probably. I think as long as it's documented about the justification of why you are applying them or why you're not, because. I think.
In my mind, it's like
fine.
existing building code, like
Yeah,
there's thresholds, and if you're touching something, then you have to bring it up to code. If you're not touching it, it's hard to make somebody bring it up to code unless it's a major life safety issue.
that makes sense, in things like,
Is that when the percentage is triggered? Is that related or not?
There are percentages for existing buildings.
Because there were
that,
some
like,
things that
if
we
you-
removed
yeah.
because you're like, that's already.
Oh, I think that was the window thing,
Oh,
where I was like, we
yes.
can't require them to put more windows in than the energy code allows.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, well, I just wanted to throw that out there as like a test of.
Yeah.
What, how would you go through that, it's like kind of getting the wheels turning, okay. I mean, like, for instance, if an existing building had a blank wall longer than 15 feet, I don't think the planning board would be, I don't think it'd be reasonable for the planning board to say. You knock down that blank wall and put it, it's just for a reuse of a building, but right, if they start to change the site, change the building. So let's see, again, verbatim stuff just getting plugged in here that all principal building, we're in the still building design section. That having all principal buildings need to include a principal entrance facing the street. Architectural detail, front entrances. This is about multi-unit residential, and non-residential buildings on lots larger than 10,000 square feet. Just about entrances here. I think they're good design guidelines. I know that other towns have referenced them. If you take a sneak peek into Caroline's
I
design
did.
guidelines,
And I was like, eco would be nice.
they are, but they're very similar.
They are.
These.
I was just in there today is what I was referencing.
And that's it. I don't think there's any other changes below this.
Caroline also had a zoning chart. Do we have a zoning chart? No, this is not.
He's
but-
work,
Do.
yeah, there's at least a
that was
draft,
nice.
is that going forward as a draft to the, or is it already approved?
It's not approved, no,
Okay.
because there's a lot of work that needs on it. Do you want me to pull it up for everyone?
I saw the preliminary, and there was a
You
lot.
want to see it? I just want to show, so, and for those of you still who like to tune into these meetings here, I was asked to put, in the Danby zoning code, it's very Euclidean. It's like zone district and all of our uses and dimensions, and zone district, all of uses and dimensions, and it's very, very repetitive. There's a way to maybe flip it and kind of look at it differently. So maybe putting together like a chart and showing all the zone districts and what all the uses are, something I'd like to work on and put online. It makes things a little bit easier. So I started to put it together, and there are 98 different uses, and many of them there are many that overlap each other. It's probably.
I think the town of Auburn or city of Auburn, I always forget what they are, I guess the city. They combine things on theirs, I'm pretty sure.
Combine, like,
Uses together, it's like one line. If they're really, like, if they're very similar, I think they like, they'll put like 4 together on one line.
Oh, yeah.
so I'll just show this. This is draft. This is not an official document whatsoever. But just to orient everyone, this is something I'd want to just eventually put online. Up here at the top, sorry, these are the zone districts. So high priority preservation, and then kind of going down to more commercial. So rural 1, rural 2, low density residential, hamlet neighborhood, hamlet center, commercial A, B, C. And then the different, these number or letters A and P's and what do all of these mean? There's a little sort of chart over here. We don't need to get into it ad nauseum tonight. I just want to show people where I'm going with this, is that blank means it's not a permitted use. SP is special permit subject to special regulations. SC means it's only allowed on corner lots. That might go away soon. P is principal permitted use by right. A is accessory use permitted by right. AS, accessory use permitted by site plan review. Let's see, asterisk, accessory use permitted by right, subject to special regulations. And then S is principal use allowed by site plan review. So all of these categories here in column 2 are the uses that when you read the zoning, you'll see agriculture or roadside stand, single dwelling, duplex.
Wait, but not related, but aren't roadside stands allowed anywhere because we're right to farm? Or-
Yeah, and that's what I put. They're
I didn't see it go, but you're not done.
actually,
Doesn't matter.
well, this is curious. It's not, they're not called out in hamlet neighborhood. They're not called out in these zone districts. Same with agriculture, and maybe this was purposeful.
We told a client for West Danby Road that she got first in, so I hope I'm.
Yeah, she can. That was rural too. Right?
Okay, good,
You want to
yeah.
determine it was rural too? Yeah. So Hamlet Center is, the only one that doesn't allow agriculture.
Hamlet Center.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know if that was an oversight or if that was deliberate, but anyway, just a note. I mean, so
Yeah.
this is more of a.
It was an oversight.
Might have been oversight, right? I think, take this
You know,
chart as it's good to see them all together and say, oh, wow, like we have 4 home occupation uses. Why are they all different? And I even put a note over here. How is this different than the preceding 3 home occupation use categories? So, yeah, like there's lots of different retail type uses. Like, what's the difference between a drugstore and a bookstore? And anyway, it was kind of a fun exercise.
users.
What's that, Ted?
Drug users.
Drug users? Oh, come on. What's the difference between public and private school? I don't know. I'm not, maybe there is a major difference with maybe number of kids, I guess, but anyway.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot, yeah. I think this would be good to have for people just to see, like all the industrial uses rightfully are, over here in commercial C zone district. Anyway.
The charts are
geeky
handy
stuff,
though.
yeah.
It is handy. I mean, I can read through it a bit for my clients, but if I'm sending something to my client, I just want to give them a chart. Like they want to know what they can do with the property. Here's
And that's what.
You're in this zone. Yeah, I was like, oh, you're in that ag rural zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get that official, something that Leslie, before it becomes official, is we need to make sure that definitions are there.
Mhm.
There's a lot of these uses that there's no definition for. So there's still work to do.
Still a work in progress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So anything else? Or
So, we basically, it doesn't sound like anyone has any major questions or comments on what's being put forward in terms of it moving on to the town board.
okay.
unless anyone does, and some of us have looked at this so many times, it's like.
I think it's having a plan of having it, make sense and be consistent, I think is kind of the main thing, and just cleaning it up where it wasn't, so it makes sense.
All right, thank you.
It
Any
feels-
other, sorry, go ahead.
Nothing, I was just gonna say, it feels like a simplification, that seems good,
Yeah.
you know?
Which the Hamlet
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
Mhm.
One thing I want to, for the planning report, I don't need to go over maybe everything that I'm working on, but next week I'm going to a little land use training out in Cortland for a few days. And it's about clean energy. And I'm wondering, I just want to feel the planning board here. Are there priority clean energy projects that you think Danby should, prioritize? I mean, right now there's a solar farm, we don't have any wind. Are there things that you think that?
I don't understand why geothermal isn't huge. Why?
Yeah.
I had a house with it, went back for 20 years, and it's fabulous, it's cheap. It's even better technology now. I'm mystified by building windmills and not just taking the heat out of the earth.
It's not cheap to put in though.
Pardon?
It may be cheap, it's not cheap to put in.
Neither's a windmill.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
not putting a windmill on my property anyway. I think that's
No, it's not cheap, but boy, it's long lasting. I think it's, so anyway, that would be a suggestion, maybe we can put some initiatives here.
I can ask other people at the training, because it's supposed to be like a big kind of collaborative training session. It's not just going to sessions, it's like a big discussion, understanding different towns. The county reached out to me as like a representative from Danby to go. So yeah, I can bring that up.
Do you have something, Ted?
Two things. First of all, my pedantic reminder to Scott that it's not geothermal that you're talking about, it's ground source heat pump.
Right, yes.
Greg,
Correct.
I think I've told you, but you are aware that Avangrid is exploring a wind farm in Danby. If you aren't, I can tell you about it.
Yeah, sure.
Where?
Yeah, they've approached me as a landowner, and I assume all the neighboring landowners as well.
Good to know.
I know it's contentious on the north end of the lake right now. But hear about it at work, but yeah.
Where
I can't remember exactly. I know it's somewhere in like the Moravia and like just the Moravia, I think, area.
Oh, that's Agricola.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, it's to the west of Moravia, going into like Locke and like north of Genoa. That area. I used to drive through there all the time going up to Auburn.
Yeah.
That's a huge. Luckily, they have the DEC requires a 2-mile buffer from the lake. I mean, I don't know if that's enough, but for bird migration. But
well, there's a lot of birds.
For what it's worth,
along
sorry.
those roads. No, I said there's a lot of bird type of stuff going up the lake.
along the lake, yeah.
Along the lake, yeah, that it would disturb.
That'll be interesting to hear.
yeah, so I'll bring that up. And Ted, if you have any other information to share about those folks reaching out, that'd be good. Just because I'd like to.
I can give you a lengthy summary. But one thing that I found amusing was I actually asked the question, so are you notifying local municipalities about this? And the answer was not no, but it was more along the lines of, oh, they'll find out.
Yeah.
And I did, and Joel's here. I've told him about this. Gosh, it must have been a month or two ago now, Joel. Does that sound right to you? Let's see, the letter I have is dated July, 3rd of July.
Yeah, you mentioned it at the Wednesday gathering where the Ithaca concert band played at the church.
Yeah, which probably was in July.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Anything else?
Oh,
sorry,
just
go ahead.
the two electric point, like Groton having their own electric, their residents seem really happy about that. It's a lot cheaper, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Having their own electric.
Yeah,
Way better.
the town of Groton has Groton Electric, like, yeah, yeah.
Right.
That's- I
And,
don't
yeah.
know, just bring that.
That work our clients that live there, it's significant.
Yeah.
Especially with what NICEAG's done, we're paying client
Yeah.
bills. In, everywhere else but Groton, it's like, we really get to see
People
it.
love it.
Yeah.
And what are they using?
I don't know.
Oh,
I
we don't know what they're using.
All right, great. I can bring those up and I'll report back in November. Just briefly, some other updates. So as I said, we're all the laws are being codified. We have 100 questions or more from the consultant doing it that we have to go through and answer all of them to help them codify those. We're applying for CDBG again for 2025. Actually, I think we already did since our last meeting for another homeowner housing upgrades. It's just been a great program. We want to keep that ball rolling. And special event law to allow large scale events on properties that was discussed in the town board last night. There's still a lot of work that needs to happen on that. Just to enable sort of larger events, but also just to have a handle, because there was a couple of years ago, some festival that was not sanctioned and it caused a little bit of a stir. So
And they tore everything down on the property.
and then for those of you maybe tuning in, there's South Hill Cider has come up a lot in town board meetings and just in the community by noise impacts, and are they within their zoning ag definition, and is it conservation easement? And I just bring it to the planning board as just if you might see things publicly, out there being discussed. And we're as a town, Joel and I have had many conversations recently with ag and markets, just trying to get a handle on what does ag allow for a cidery. I mean, it's incredible how much the ag definition has really expanded over the years to allow farmers to have events and routine events and to make income off those events. But then what happens is that, surrounding people might get upset by some of the impacts of those. So we're trying to just understand a little bit, to what extent do those protections go, and where do they end? The owner of South Hill Cider, Steve, has been very cooperative. We've had a meeting with him earlier this week. And so there's no resolution yet, but I feel that between the neighbors, Steve, and the town, we're kind of getting to a place where things might get corrected. There's thoughts of maybe Steve might potentially approach the town to rezone to a planned development zone. That's a little bit sort of further down the list of priorities. I think Steve sounds willing to correct some things or adjust some things on his own operations. I only bring this up just in the planning board again, because it's a land use, there's a land use question there. It's not just a noise question. There's some of the discussion has been around the noise law being brought up. And if you're for the noise law, you're against South Hill Cider, and there's a land use question.
The discussions on Facebook they just spiral, like, you're
Yeah.
like, what? It's just, some are like flat out racist, and you're like, what are you referring to? Like, I don't know how people take. This is what happens on social media, I guess.
I was gonna say, I have a solution. Don't use Facebook.
Yeah,
I don't
you're
use
right,
Facebook.
you're right, that is the solution. I'm like, what all?
Yeah.
Don't use Facebook.
Brilliant. Say something.
Just one more thing to waste your time on.
And I don't think
You don't have to have it, yeah.
but it is
Yeah.
upsetting that other people are getting upset when this isn't. Like, nothing's been passed, like, it's,
I know.
and then,
There's also the conservation easement issue.
Yeah,
so
a conservation easement that supports almost 2/3 of its property for parking lots is pretty interesting.
So we're looking at it all. So just if you are noticing, lots of chatter going around at the town about it, there is a land use component, easement and zoning that I'm looking at. And I'll just leave it there for now.
Sounds good. All right, then I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. See you in November.
We're all ready.
No.
Might be a little chillier than them. Going around too.
What's chilly?
By the next meeting, it might be a little cooler out.
Well, I guess that leaves just the two of us. Another time.